Okay, good morning. Welcome to Local London. Bright and early. This morning we are going to hear from Matthew Plummer, who's going to talk to us about choosing the correct tools to migrate to Atlas. Everyone can still hear me okay? Yeah, good. Okay, good. Okay, so Matthew, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully everyone can hear me on this mic as well, yeah? Great. Thanks for the introduction. Everyone, welcome to Local London. This is the first of many sessions of the day, so be sure to check out all the ones coming up throughout the day. My name is Matthew Plummer. I'm a senior consulting engineer at Mongo. I've been here for just over 3 years now, and I specialize in migrations. So I work as part of the migration factory, where we focus on large, complex, business-critical migrations. We work on getting those from MongoDB self-deployed, self-managed on the cloud, on-prem, across onto Atlas. We use various tools to do that, so I'm going to cover some of those today. Okay. So in this session, hopefully something here piques your interest. So I'll be covering who uses MongoDB migration services, so our main kind of businesses and clients, and you'll come to see it's quite a lot. Why migrate to Atlas? If anyone's new to MongoDB or new to Atlas, I'll briefly cover Atlas itself, and then, of course, why you want to get there. The benefits of using the correct tool. Of course, using the correct tool for the job is very important, so I'll cover some points on that. And then our main tools are MongoSync and Atlas Live Migrate. So I'll briefly cover both of these tools, how they work, the benefits of each one, and then towards the end, I'll cover the use cases for each of those tools. So, in terms of the migration services, we have MongoDB, that's the migration factory, and the wider consultants. We work with companies all over the industries, from motor companies, financial companies, gaming companies, health companies, e-commerce, travel, tourism, utilities, the full range. So hopefully some of you will fall into that category. But we also work with a lot of independent startup companies as well. So we cover a pretty broad spectrum. In terms of the kind of migrations we cover, a lot of people are apprehensive to migrate to Atlas because they think their deployments are either too big, too complex, maybe not tuned to the correct requirements that we need or the correct version. But we specialize in exactly that. We migrate deployments and have successfully done so of hundreds of terabytes, up to 80 shards we've done so far. So tens of shards, hundreds of applications connected to these deployments, lots of business critical deployments, versions that are older from about 3.2 and older, bringing them up to in-date and onto Atlas, and many other areas that you can see here. So in summary, we cover basically every industry, every area, every complexity. Nothing is too complicated for what we do in the migration factory. So why would you want to come to us and get to Atlas? So Atlas, of course, offers ease of management. It offers a lot of database administration. You get the enhanced monitoring, you get the metrics, you get the dashboards, you get the logging, you get the charts. You also get the new AI features, vector search, Gen AI, a few other features. So Atlas can be pretty beneficial for any use case. You can always utilize one or all of these features. So getting people to Atlas is our main focus, but getting people to Atlas with a purpose so we can help them further develop, further use our offerings and tooling, that's our main focus. So doing migrations is notoriously and historically a complex job. It comes with a lot of associated risks because you're moving all of your data from one place to another. So we need to make sure we use the correct tool for the job. So why is that important? Well, we focus on these three main points. Data consistency. We want to make sure your data is moved across and nothing is missed along the way. Make sure you have the latest version with minimal downtime. We want to make sure it's safely done. This is making sure the production deployment on your source is not impacted at all. So we don't want to impact your business as usual deployments, your business as usual queries. We want to make that keep running as it always has done while we do the migration. And of course, using the correct tool reduces the stress, right? If you have a tool that's fully integrated, that's fully managed, that works as intended, and works with ease, that's going to make your job a lot easier of getting stuff migrated across to Atlas. So as we go through the tools, these are kind of the main focus of each of those tools. So the first tool we offer is a MongoSync self-deployed service. This offers a bit more flexibility, a bit more tuning that you can do on your side when using the tool, and a lot more access to the underlying infrastructure of the tool itself. So if anyone is new to MongoSync, it's sometimes called cluster-to-cluster sync. So on our documentation, you may see it referred to as cluster-to-cluster. We use MongoSync, a bit shorter to say when we're using it multiple times throughout the day. But it offers a lot of key capabilities. So I'll go through some of these quickly. It offers a continuous sync, so it will maintain your source and your target deployments in sync in real time. So anything new you put into your source, it'll be migrated across to the target in real time. It offers resumability. If you run MongoSync, and maybe you need to pause it for a critical workload or a critical query, or you just don't want that stress of running something important, you can pause MongoSync, let it be idle, and then you can resume it again afterwards. Hybrid environments, you can migrate to Atlas, but MongoSync can also migrate you to a new on-premise or new self-deployed service as well. When you migrate to Atlas, you can fully use multiple shards, multiple regions, multiple cloud providers. Everything Atlas offers, MongoSync can migrate that to that deployment. Of course, sharded support, as well as replica sets, it will support sharding. As I said, we've migrated up to 80 shards, currently growing, we're migrating more and more. So any sharded size, any shard deployment you have, you can of course migrate with that. High resiliency, MongoSync will have automatic resuming capabilities. So if a transient error occurs for whatever reason or something happens, it will resume by itself, unless it's something like a fatal error where you need to look at it. Those are few and far between, but anything that's transient, it will automatically recognize it and resume so you're not losing time. And then reverse direction. So this is something that's really cool, that if you migrate to Atlas, and for whatever reason you decide we want to go back, or maybe we want to revisit some things, or maybe we want to collect more data, or maybe we want to just wait a little bit, you can trigger the reverse sync. So after you cut over to Atlas, you can reverse the sync back, and it will move back any data it has missed. So you go right back to where you were, full backup plan, full safe strategy, with the full guardrails that we have for MongoSync going the other direction. And then of course for now going onwards from today, we released a beta program. So the beta program is for those of you that want to have kind of the cutting edge features that we have. So we have lots of additional features we can offer. It's worth checking those out if you think, I've looked at MongoSync before, some of the things I need weren't there. We now have a whole suite of new tools, new capabilities within MongoSync that you can utilize in the beta program. That can be found in the official documentation. So I'll quickly go through visually how MongoSync works. So you have your source deployment and you have your destination deployment. Your source deployment could be EA, self-managed, your source on Atlas. You deploy MongoSync in the middle. You can co-host that alongside the source, or you can co-host that in a cloud provider. It could be Azure, it could be AWS, it could be Google Cloud, wherever you want to locate that, not a problem. You issue a command to start MongoSync. It will do the bulk of the data. It will move all the data you have currently across. Now during this time, you do not need to take the source down. Any new writes you do to the source, MongoSync will also pick those up and move those across. It does that automatically. That's called a change event application. So when you're ready to cut over, everything will be in sync. When you are ready to cut over, you issue a single command, which is a commit command. It lets MongoSync know I'm all finished here. It does some validation checks to make sure everything's there, make sure everything's in sync, and then you're ready to cut over. So you stop MongoSync, and you do your cutover, and that's to Atlas. Now MongoSync can be run with just two commands, your start command and your commit command. Start command, of course, starts at the very beginning. Commit is for the end when you're finished, and that's it. And then you redeploy your app, run on Atlas, and you're running successfully on Atlas. Now the question we get asked all the time is, when I do this cutover, what's the downtime I need to expect? During a migration, lots of people rightly assume there's some kind of period where you need to cut over, so you have to be offline. MongoSync is optimized for this. When you stop the writes, when you do that commit, you can have a little downtime as 15 seconds or less. Okay, so if you can accommodate a 15-second write downtime, then you're good to go. At any point, there is never a read downtime. Your source cluster is always readable throughout, and the destination cluster is always readable. Okay, so it depends when you want to switch it, but the data is there to be read. The cutover process, you stop the writes on the source, you commit, you cut over, and restart the writes on your new destination. Depending how you're deployed, if you have CI/CD pipelines or Terraform, or maybe you're using pods to deploy your application, just a matter of restarting those with the Atlas connection string, and you're good to go. So that's a bit too much deploying your own instances, running the commands, doing that yourself. If you're like, I don't want to spend the time doing this. We also have Live Migrate, which is much more managed within MongoDB migration tool. So as I said, it is built into Atlas. So if you have Atlas, you have Atlas Live Migrate. So as soon as you sign up for Atlas, you deploy a cluster, you have full access to this tool. It's built into Atlas. It actually runs the latest MongoSync in the background. So any new features MongoSync gets, Atlas Live Migrate also gets those same features. It's fully managed by MongoDB and fully managed by Atlas. You don't need to worry about deploying the tool. You don't need to do any manual configurations. So you don't need to go into a console and issue start commands or commits. You can do it all through Atlas, through the nice UI that it has. So you can start, cut over, and you can shut down this tool, all with a click of a button in Atlas. And it also gives you nice progress bars so you see exactly where your migration is. So just so when you go to Atlas, you know what you're looking for. When you deploy target cluster, you click the three dots, and there's a button called Migrate Data to this cluster. Click that. It will take you right through to Live Migrate. You pick where your source is. Maybe it's managed by Ops Manager, Cloud Manager. Maybe it's fully self-managed on-prem or on the cloud. And there's even an option here for some relational migrations. That does not use Live Migrate. That uses a relational migrator. But the top two will put you through to the Live Migrate. When you do that, it'll give you a quick 3-step guide of what you need and what you need to do. Follow these steps of providing the source connection string, the destination connection string, and then click you're ready to migrate, and off it goes. It will give you progress, so you can see here, it will do an initial sync. It'll tell you how much progress it has. It will tell you when it's doing that catch-up phase of getting anything it's missed, and it will also send you an email or any communication SMS you've set up that will tell you when it's ready to cut over. It will tell you when that cluster is in sync, when you can come back, and when you can click that cut over button. When you do cut over, Atlas takes care of shutting down the migration services, handling the connections, of turning the connection, switching over, all managed within this tool. A good thing about this is also you're not paying for the MongoSync host. MongoSync is deployed on a host, but you do not pay for that when you use Live Migrate. That is covered by MongoDB and Atlas. It will be deployed in the same cloud provider as your target deployment is. So we deploy the same cloud provider alongside your destination. So in terms of the cutover and downtime for this, it takes a little bit longer to cut over because it has to handle spinning down those instances of the MongoSync in the background and making sure the connection strings are correct and switched over. But it's still as little as 3 minutes. So for both tools, you're definitely talking about a less than 5-minute write outage. Similar to MongoSync, there won't be a read outage. You can still read your source throughout. The write outage, it comes from the cutover process. Very similar cutover process. You stop the writes on the source. You go to Atlas. You click the cutover button. It will finalize. It will redirect the writes to the destination. And then it cleans everything up for you. So you're in a ready-to-go state. So those are the two main tools we have. MongoSync self-managed, self-deployed. And then the Atlas Live Migrate push and pull service. Push and pull for Atlas Live Migrate just comes down to where you want it to be. Do you want to pull data into Atlas, or do you want to push it from your source to Atlas? Which to choose comes down to security constraints, but worth looking into those two options. So a quick summary of when you want to choose each of these tools. We get asked a lot, okay, you have all this tooling, you have all this offering, but which is the right tool for me? So for MongoSync self-deployed, if you're a developer or you're a DBA or engineer and you like looking at the logs and being able to extract those logs and tweak all the parameters that we have, which we have many about how many threads you can run, how many partitions in parallel you can run, MongoSync's a tool for you. If you require private link or VPC peering, fully supported with a self-deployed MongoSync. If you need to do maybe renaming your namespaces or only filtering and migrating some namespaces, but not all data, MongoSync, you can add those filters. You can rename as you go. So maybe you're changing your branding when you go to Atlas and you need to change the prefix of your databases. You can do that in flight with this tool. If you want to use a tool that's fully managed by Atlas, you can use Live Migrate. So fully managed, fully automated. It has a nice UI, nice wizard you can follow, buttons you can press, and graphs that show up in Atlas. Live Migrate's the way to go for you. So no additional software is required, all built in. No deployments have to be done on your side. Just follow the instructions, and you're good to go. So that's a brief summary of the migration tools. Now, if you have any specific questions around your deployments of how you can migrate to Atlas, maybe you thought about it in the past, maybe you're thinking about it in the future, or maybe you're just curious about how I could do it or what it looks like, I'll be around all day. Feel free to come up, ask questions. If you need some interaction with Migration Factory, I can get you involved in that, and we can help you step by step get you to Atlas. We can use our 5-step methodology, where we take you all the way through the de-risk, the migrate, right up to the validate and cutover. We have a full service that offers that capability for your migrations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matthew. And thank you, everyone, for coming so bright and early. And please enjoy the rest of your day.